1:15 in the afternoon. Having a break from the trading. Looks like we're live. It's showing live. 17 seconds in. Cool. Looks like that's up. Not sure if anybody will be on this live, but actually I'm just going to grab a drink of water before I come back and then crack into the live. I'll be back. Okie doke. Back. Where are we? Oh, bloody hell. Hang on. Dun, 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 dun. Come here. Got my phone. All good. Got it now. Okie dokie. Where are we? Bring up these questions. Sorry if there are people on there waiting for me. What is this fella up to? Anyway, here on this live, if there are people there, look, I'll try and have the open chat, it says. Oh, hey, at DMC Vanilla Butcher, hello to you. Thanks for joining, or stopping by if you're here. This one's just a bit of an update with a few things and read out a few comments, questions, requests, and then I'll try and provide some answers to those. So first one that's come through, there's been several people that have tried to access the school community that I had set up. And they've just asked, hey, what's happening with the school community? Those handful of members, there was literally just a handful of members in the school community that I'd set up as basically a paid version for those that were looking at preparing for selection, or those that just may have been interested. Long story short, to try to keep things easier for me and more efficient without having to go onto YouTube and then do this channel, then put stuff on Instagram and then put stuff on TikTok and then go to the school community and then manage that as well. I thought, oh man, you know what? I'll just try to combine it all into YouTube. YouTube's been cool for me so far. Everything's there. The recommendations from what I've seen on there is that the school community will, take less out of your membership fees and that sort of thing, as opposed to a platform like YouTube, etc. But just going across to going into school, then to YouTube, then to this, then to that, then the other thing, just seemed a bit inefficient for me anyway, in terms of trying to manage all of those different things. So I use YouTube most of the time. The only other thing is using Riverside to do the recordings and stuff. So decided to just put all of that into there. I gave a bit of notice to the members that were in the school community, just saying, hey, please do not renew your monthly subscription for May, because I've already gone through the process and suspended the account. Maybe I might do it later. It's the same thing with Patreon. People said, oh, set up your Patreon account. I'll join up there, etc. Yeah, there's rather than going to all the different platforms and trying to manage and do things that way, I'm just consolidating stuff into YouTube. So there is no school community. Apologies for that. I'll have to go through and make sure that it's not showing in the descriptions and stuff of videos. Previous videos are, I'm not going to go back and scroll through all of those and delete them. I'll just leave them as they are. But people that have been clicking on it trying to get in have then sent through their queries around it. So there is no school community. I've stopped. I've cancelled that, and I'll just look to. I've created some other memberships and stuff with regards to the YouTube space. So actually, maybe I'll just touch on that while I'm here. Actually, no, I'll come back to that later because I'll read through these other ones first. So that's that on the school community. Hopefully that helps answer any questions. This one is a question. Hi, Joe, would you consider offering a channel membership level for purely paid reaction videos so they have a high priority in regards to being available to watch, ? I don't usually send through reaction requests because I realize you've got plenty of videos to react to as it is. The handful I have sent through, though, have taken quite a long time before they have come up. So, sorry about that. But I would be more inclined to submit a request if I knew that my request would be given some priority if I paid. Interesting. Okay. Thanks for that. I'll be honest, you're not the first person that has asked this question, and you're different from the small number of people that have asked the same thing. I appreciate that. Yeah, maybe I would. So to your first question, would you consider offering a channel membership level for purely paid reaction videos? Yeah, I suppose I'd consider it. Yeah, I suppose I could consider and just put one up. Hey, it's like all the other memberships in there. Just because I've got a membership offering on the channel doesn't mean people are going to sign up to it. So yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, I could do that. Apologies again about the requests that you have sent through, but it's taken me quite a while before they've come up. Yeah, and acknowledging your comment that you'd be more inclined to submit a request if you knew that they'd be given some priority. So yeah, I get that. Yeah, that is something that I would consider. Maybe I'll look at adding that. I have recently just added some membership levels to the channel, but none of them to do specifically with paid reactions. So thanks for that. Maybe it's something I might add in. Who knows? You've got here also, I enjoy watching and listening to your reactions and hearing your thoughts and perspective on things. Thanks for that. I also really admire the way you have evolved in front of the camera compared to when you first started. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, hopefully it sounds to me like I've evolved in a more positive way based on your comment. By the way, I have evolved in front of the camera compared to when I first started. You seem way more comfortable and confident. Thank you for that. Yeah, I probably feel a bit more comfortable. Yeah, maybe confident too in front of the camera. Yeah, that's nice to hear. That makes me laugh. Yeah, thanks for that. Anyway, appreciate your questions and comments, and then maybe I will go through I'll bring up the channel membership stuff after. That is one of the things that's on here. Another comment that's come through: the channel memberships look great, mate. I'll be looking to join the mindset and accountability level in a few weeks. Oh wow, thanks for that. Great to see you leveraging your experience garnered through hard work, discipline, and dedication. Garnered. That's like gathered, collected, garnered. Is it? Garnered through hard work. I'm assuming it's gained through hard work. That's what it means. Apologies. I'm no wordsmith here. So yeah, great to see leveraging experience. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for that. And well, the mindset and accountability level, that's the highest level on there. I've put that in. I'll talk about the membership stuff a little bit later on, and why they're in there. Hi Joe, the new membership levels look interesting, but don't you think you've already shared more than enough info that people probably won't be interested in joining? Same, yeah, potentially, yeah, depending on what it is that they might be searching for or looking for. And I would go even further and say, not even just based on stuff that I've shared or made freely available, but other people with, dare I say, even much more experience than me that have shared things on similar topics that no doubt help people. So yeah, not just me. Looks interesting. Don't you think you've already shared more than enough info that people probably won't be interested in joining? Yeah, possibly. If I was preparing for selection you've got specifically, I'd probably just go through all the freely available content you've provided. Yeah, that's a great point. So I think when I go into talking about the memberships, it's not, there are aspects and membership levels in there now specifically to try to cater for those that might be looking at selection, but it's not just for those doing selection. And I'll try to elaborate a little bit more on that as I go. But yeah, if I would do the same, I'll be honest, like if I was preparing for selection, and I had access, or we had access to all the type of information and stuff that's available now, I would just be scrolling through all of that sort of stuff and just absorbing as much information as I could. And if I stumbled across people or persons that were sharing some of their experiences and tips and answering questions, providing information, a lot of free information, which I've tried to do on the channel and still will look to do, I would 100% be looking to just troll through all of that. Not troll, scroll through all of that and get as much information as I could to prepare as well as I can. So from a selection specific perspective. So yeah, good comment. Cool. So yeah, probably on that, I'll probably jump into and switch into some of the stuff on the membership. So where are we? What have we got? Let's just look to make that a little bit smaller. Oh, bloody hell. And then all I did was make it bigger. Now it's blocking what I was trying to read. Hang on. Bear with me. Let's move this over there. So yeah, there's some updates or new membership offerings in the channel. The channel supporter one's still there, $1.99. That's purely just for those that want to support. So there were a number of people, as I'd mentioned earlier when I did a video, people expressing their desire to want to try to support the channel, and that's what a lot of people were doing when I originally had membership stuff up. So yeah, I put that up there, $1.99. Then the deeper dive stuff, so sort of extended reaction videos, access to general live streams, and maybe some other stuff. But that was really, yeah, that's probably maybe, or although it doesn't really call out to the other question that the person had about having a paid level membership, purely just for reaction requests for them to have a high priority. Yeah, the deeper dive, $8.99. Yeah, that was just more for general reactions and maybe some other stuff that I might only post in there. I think like the bravery and betrayal reaction that I did. I posted that one in there. I'm pretty sure that's still only in that membership space. So what's new? I put 3 other ones in there, and I'll try and give some context as to why these additional memberships have come up. So the next one is the training and discipline heading for the membership, $24.99. So building discipline and consistency monthly training guide. So there'll be information, there'll be some breakdowns, there'll be videos, which will be only available to that level of membership. And why is that? Not just for those that are preparing for a selection, but just in general. So there's quite a few people that I'm lucky enough to work with, provide some tips and guidance to. And to be fair, this was their idea, not not mine. So they were, yeah, kind enough to say, hey mate, like, appreciate the time that you spend, share, we jump on these calls and go through this stuff. And then they just shared, I think that there's an opportunity here that if you wanted to maybe create a membership, they actually said maybe you should create an app or a training application. To be honest, I haven't looked at creating a training application at all. They spoke about whether it's specific for selection, whether it's specific just for everyday functioning life, all of that sort of stuff. And those things are cool ideas, but I think for me, I prefer more the interaction with the people that I'm lucky enough to work with and spend some time with and discuss some of the challenges or some of the thoughts, ideas that they have, and then give my take and perspective or feedback on those based on some experience as well, while, you know, obviously acknowledging that I don't know everything and being open to hearing and learning more from them as well. And then trying to use some of the experience that I have, which could help steer them or guide them towards achieving whatever their goal or objective is. So the training and discipline one, it's $24.99 a month, to help individuals sort of gain an understanding and build some of that discipline and consistency, understanding when to turn things up and crank up the intensity or dial it back, etc. Just from a general perspective, not necessarily for selection. So that's what that level is for. And yeah, hopefully that helps. There'll be other stuff as we go in that space, which I've got a list of things in regards to each of these 3 new channel memberships, and with plans to evolve that as we go. So the training and discipline stuff will probably have a segment or section of weekly, monthly, or a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month training block with relevant focuses and rationales for that, and activities and ways about going to achieve those things for the individual to then take and tweak and adjust to suit their situation, their family requirements, their work requirements, their injuries, their whatever that they may have going on. To hopefully help those that might want to sign up at that level achieve whatever their short, medium, or long-term goals are. Actually, I'll be honest, it's probably more geared towards helping those achieve longer-term sustainable goals rather than, oh, I've got a wedding coming up in 6 weeks and I want to drop 15 kilos or whatever. So probably more geared towards life-sustaining long-term goals rather than just short-term. For all summer's coming up, want to get the blink and want to be comfortable in a bathing suit or whatever, in my togs out on the beach, or want to be comfortable taking my shirt off or whatever. Rather than geared towards that stuff. So I think those that want that type of thing probably better off going and seeing what do you call them, bodybuilding coaches or whatever, which is not me. So go see those people, body sculpting or whatever they call themselves, see those types of people to maybe get more specific results, and dare I say probably better results for what it is that you might be after in that particular field. The stuff that I'll be doing in this space, although I find them beneficial and I've received a lot of benefit out of them, my children have received a lot of benefit out of that type of stuff, and approach and mentality and discipline and consistency, etc., to that type of training. I think it can work with anyone. But yeah, it takes, the individual's got to do their part and has to want to be looking at doing that sort of thing for the long run, not just for the short term. Okay, that's my take anyway. So there's a whole bunch of stuff planned for that, and the breakdowns and the layouts of how that will flow and what it would look like, or what it could potentially look like for members in that space, will become more and more obvious as we go. So, and there'll be more and more content in that space as we go. Right now, there isn't anything in there. So just bear in mind, I think because you have to submit your membership levels, and then YouTube has to review them, and then they have to approve them. So these only just got approved last night. So yeah, there's nothing in there yet, or yesterday afternoon actually. So I've got one video and one of the other membership options, which I'll go through, but nothing in that training and discipline one yet. But don't worry, there'll be no shortage of information going into there. Selection prep in reality. So this one is more specific and more geared towards where those that were in the school community would probably find information relevant to help them in their journey or preparation for selection. That being said, to the other person's comment, the last comment, like they would just basically go online and get all the freely available stuff. All of that stuff is still there. So that doesn't change. I'm not shifting it into here. I'm not making it a members only section for this particular membership that I've made. Whatever I've put out is just going to stay where it is. This is more specific now to anything that might relate to selection prep or those preparing for selection to get into. So in here, it's got structured selection preparation guidance, deep dive live streams. That'll be, I guess, perks in there, but that will flesh out into more and more things as well. So in this one, at the moment, I've put up the SAS selection reference guide that I did a few months ago and have been selling, not necessarily online. People read the post, reached out. I replied, gave them the details to make the deposit to. They paid for it. I sent it to them. So it's not efficient. And I received some comments, I think, from people saying that it was a bit off-putting, the fact that they couldn't just go on, fill it out, make payment, and then receive it straight away. There's a bit of there was a bit of back and forth because I haven't set it up that way. So anyway, it is what it is. I figured if it's important enough for people that they want to get a bit of an insight and use that as a guide, then they would reach out. If it's not and they don't want to, well, then they won't. So anyway, I've put that into that membership level, but also I then read through it basically, and then expanded on each of those points in more detail. So I think the video is probably nearly an hour and a half, where I'm sharing the screen, running through each piece, and then looking to break that down and give further insight, which isn't in the document itself. I think, or we think, that the document is pretty good in terms of the explanations and keeping it so that it doesn't blow out too long. It's 18 pages total, but that includes the cover and the back page. So you take those two out, and if you remove the disclaimer and copyright, remove that page, remove the contents page, that removes 4 pages, so it's about 14 pages and about 5 or 6 chapters in there, or maybe 7 or 8 chapters, and just breaks down some of the higher level stuff in there. When I say we, it's because I was fortunate to discuss and go through and put that together, discussing with other former members from NZN Australia, current serving members within those units, and using my own experience and stuff as well with regards to that. So there's quite a good mix of experience put into the reference guide, albeit only short. It was just meant to be like a little reference guide, like the name suggests, a little booklet or a reference guide. People wouldn't imagine those to be very long, and so this one isn't. And with that being said, in each of those chapters, for want of a better term, I just go in and elaborate on those aspects in more detail. Why is that? Because people that purchased it, I then made myself available if they had any questions to jump on a call with them. They were usually video calls with them, and then answer their questions. So that happened quite a few times, and that became quite a lot of time required to do, which didn't worry about charging them any extra for it. So I was happy to do that. And because they had purchased the reference guide, but I don't think, well, clearly I didn't think about it well enough. I didn't anticipate how much additional time that would be. So it was quite a lot of time, and I thought, well, if I've created this membership, I can put this in here and I can talk to this, read through it and talk to it, and give more information based on a lot of stuff that I was asked during those follow-up calls with people that had purchased or that have purchased the reference guide. So by doing the membership, I figured sort of almost 2 birds with 1 stone. People, if they wanted to sign up as a member, they get access to the reference guide, but they also get answers to a whole bunch of follow-up questions that they might have had. I gauge that based on what other people who have purchased it then wanted to have a follow-up call, which I then took the time and spent with them, and then went through that stuff. So 2 birds with 1 stone. Some people may still want to buy the reference guide and then go on the membership. It's up to them. But if it was me, and if I was going to buy the reference guide and then realize that I had some questions, or that I might have some questions as a follow-up, I would just do the membership instead, because it saves me paying for the guide and then paying for the YouTube membership to hear the more in-depth information in regards to the guide itself. Hopefully that makes sense, what I'm talking about there, but that's up in that space at the moment. Another one that's going up is in the Selection Prep and Reality membership level, is I just did a video on it today, which will be the series of the whole program, physical preparation program, from the foundation phase or phase 1, general physical preparation, 12-month block, going from a beginner level or starting at a beginner level, I should say, all the way through to it's time to go on selection. So that phase 1 12-week block, it'll be broken down week by week. Usually I'll post one video a week the week before, either on a Friday or Saturday before the next week's lot of training, and basically just go through each day's training, the activities, what the purpose is, what you're looking to do, what you can expect, all that sort of stuff. Break it down in more detail. Again, with that, phases 1, 2, and 3, I've posted up that Google document on YouTube. It's still freely available, the generic program. That program is going to stay on YouTube. So if people go searching or looking for it, they should be able to find it. And all you need to do there, I think, though, then is just you would have to pause the screen and screenshot it or whatever you need to do to compile and make your own. So that's been put up there. I've gone through each page. Can't remember how long ago I did that now. I'm pretty sure it was last year sometime. And yeah, the whole 10, 12 months is laid out in there. That's a generic training plan with the intent, and I talk about that, people can take it and adapt it and modify it for whatever they need. So that's freely available. What I'm doing in this space here is dissecting that specifically week by week and in more detail than what I do in those 3 quick videos of putting the information up. So those that are after more context, more background, options for alternatives if they can't do certain things, whether it's due to injury, whether it's due to lack of mobility or range of motion, whether it's just due to your work schedule and life, shift work, etc., then I'll delve into more of that stuff. Obviously, specific lives associated to that particular group. Also, specific lives available to that training and discipline group as well, whereby they can ask more questions and we can delve into more specifics as need be. Same again with this selection prep in reality. Now, there are some people, likewise, there's some in the school community that actually have no intention of doing selection, but are just curious to get an understanding and to, by their own admission, have just been curious to want to do some of that sort of training for their own personal reasons and application. And that's cool. So if there are people that fit into that category that are just wanting to have a bit more of an insight, to hear my take or perspective, possibly, and or there's some stuff in there from a training perspective specific to an SAS selection that they might want to participate in or do, then, fill your boots if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, that section, as the name suggests, selection prep in reality, it's generally more specific to those that have got a genuine intention of wanting to go on selection, but it's doesn't discriminate, for want of a better term, against those that might just be curious. Man, I've just realized I say, for want of a better term, a heck of a lot, eh? I probably say ums and ahs a heck of a lot as well. But anyway, and that's another one. Now I'm hesitating, trying to think of the words that I need to say. Apologies for that if I'm saying a lot of things, got a lot of quirks and stuff. It is what it is, and yeah, that's how I communicate currently. So maybe I haven't evolved as much as what old mate mentioned in his kind comment earlier. What else in the selection prep? Other things that will go in there down the track will be, that's where I'll put the specific navigation stuff. So lessons in and around navigation, tips and tricks. I was about to say, for want of a better term, again. So tips and tricks I'll put in there to help people develop at least that theoretical aspect and skill of navigation. There's a whole bunch of content and information which I've got, which will take time. That's a whole package in and of itself. But I'll look to dissect that and break it down into small chunks that I will look to grab that are more applicable and helpful for those to get started with regards to gaining a better understanding of navigation from a theoretical perspective, at least anyway, to then help them so that they can take that out into the field and apply it. Yeah, in the bush, basically. So yeah, there's that, there's the training, there's the navigation, there's kits and equipment, there's, you know, mindset and mentality, there's stuff in there in terms of part of the preparation, which I think is important also, not just selection and cycle, but what life is like once you're in the unit, the impacts that that can have on relationships, families, do's and don'ts, what you can and can't do, etc., outside, which, you know, people may not have realized. So that stuff, I think, is part of selection, under the selection prep, and the reality piece, I think, is important. So there's a lot of stuff to come in there, hence why I've sort of added these in and packaged that stuff up. So yeah, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of freely available and likely good stuff available on navigation online. You can probably find stuff on YouTube. In fact, I know you can find stuff on YouTube and in other places. And there are places whereby you can go and do paid courses for, you know, whether it's a few $100s at a time to go and do a beginner course, then progress to intermediate and advanced, etc. Here, I plan on putting some information under that level of membership, so that it's, you know, hopefully it's accessible for people or that are wanting to go down that route, or just for the those that just might be curious, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, anyway, there's heaps of stuff planned for that particular membership. Same with the other one earlier from the training and discipline perspective. And then the last one on here that I've added in is the mindset and accountability. Now that's a high cost. Actually, the selection and prep, if I didn't mention, is $49.99 NZ. It's got on here. So these are all New Zealand dollars. And then the mindset and accountability. I've just got in there, you know, this one's for committed persons who want greater access. What I mean by greater access is greater access to me, and I'll touch on that without giving people's names and stuff away. I have shared little bits and pieces of information on that earlier in some other videos or some other recent lives. Actually, one of the lives that got pulled down was the live where I was doing a reaction to Heston Russell's interview on the Kyle Stefanovic show. I was doing some backward walking, then I started doing some other training, then I started doing some talking about other stuff, and that's where I mentioned it. And I've had several of those recent live videos blocked because I assume it says copyright, and it's probably because of that live portion of what I was doing, but it hasn't resulted in a copyright strike. So my Go Always a Little Further channel is still surviving at this stage. Yeah, so in here, the mindset and accountability piece, those that want greater access to me, there have been, I think I touched on that video, so there's about 14 people currently who I'm privileged to spend some time with. They pay a monthly fee, and to have that access to me, we check in regularly each week. Sometimes it's for an hour, sometimes it's for several hours. Depends on how much time I've got and how much time they've got. Depends on the depth of the conversation and the questions and or the challenges and or indeed sometimes the excuses that they are manifesting or presenting to me. And then my role in that connection, that partnership, that relationship, to try to provide some guidance, advice, dare I say mentorship, to help them in that space to progress towards, again, the objective and the mission that they're wanting to achieve. That access to me and the time spent and the cost for that is, I'll just say, significantly more than than what the cost is for here in this particular space. So the cost here is $149.99 for that mindset and accountability piece. So it's, I suppose, leveraging the work that I'm currently privileged to do with a handful of people who, and of those 14, only 3 are actually preparing for selection. So that's the other thing. It has surprised me. It massively surprised me when I received some reach out emails and direct messages on Instagram from people that basically put in their subject headings or were requesting coaching, mentoring, guidance, advice, and that they were prepared to pay for that. So really super humbling, super surprising. I was less surprised by those that have got a plan to want to go on selection. I'll be honest, I was less surprised that people with that sort of mindset or focus or goal would reach out. Like, that was cool that they did, but I have to admit, I was, that's probably, given, I suppose, my background and what I do on my channel, that type of clientele was probably more of what I expected than not. So the fact that more people, at least for now, the fact that more people, and for the last several months, some of them going back to last year, have reached out and have been working, well, we've been working together, have been in contact with me for quite a long time now, and have got no intentions at all, at least from what they've shared, and the videos, calls that I've had with them. Yeah, they're clearly not looking to do selection, but they've got other goals that drive them towards wanting to achieve things that they want to do, and they've felt that maybe I could help, leveraging some of the experiences that I've had in a few other, well, yeah, quite a number of different areas, as well as the time that I was fortunate to have in the military. So that's been really cool, really eye-opening, really diverse group of people that I'm lucky enough to work with at the moment. So that was the catalyst for me looking at how could I potentially, and are there people that may be in a similar boat, may not be looking to do anything to do with the military or selection at all, but maybe want to glean from some of the experiences that I've had and apply it to their own situation. So yeah, so that's that. The mindset and accountability stuff gives greater access to me. The intent for the price is because I don't expect there to be many people in that space. Maybe there might not be any, but you know what? I thought the same thing when I when I posted ages ago about some of the mentoring stuff. I didn't think there would be any in there, and 14 people later, there are people in that space. So maybe there will be, maybe there won't be. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter having the membership option on there if nobody joins it or wants it. It doesn't bother me. So it's there anyway as an option. If people want it, cool. If they don't, equally cool. So as I look at this now, it actually says add level. So maybe the maybe the guy's query about the reaction videos, maybe that is an option at some stage. So anyway, that is that. There will be information and stuff which will go into the mindset and accountability space as well. A lot of that stuff will probably be, at the moment, based on interactions that I have with members of that small group of 14 at this stage, because I would assume that there may be some stuff in there that we discuss, and I won't be obviously showing their faces and that sort of thing. But some of the content and the discussions that we have in there may be helpful, may be applicable to people that might want to consider that particular level of membership. The training and discipline one, $24.99, should be pretty self-explanatory, and that will evolve and flesh out over time. That one really won't gear towards really anything to do with selection preparation, or not in any sort of meaningful level anyway. There might be the odd comparison or question or correlation between some of the stuff, which might lend itself to me talking about selection or preparation, or how it could be applied, or maybe why it should not be applied. But for the most part, it'll be fairly generic and standard, with longer term consistency and goals in mind versus short-term quick fixes for temporary moments or temporary events that people might be wanting to attend. Like, I just think you get greater benefit in the long run and overall with just having a bigger vision and well, maybe vision's not a word, a bigger goal, and having a longer term outlook on things rather than just short term quick fix. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And then the selection prep and reality stuff, the $49.99, that's where things will be much more focused on that type of environment with the things that I just mentioned earlier. So anyway, that is the updates on that. What else? I'm just checking on here, I should say. No, I covered off on that. Jump back into here. Cool. No, that's that. I think I've covered off on all of those things. So yeah, appreciate the questions that came through in the comments as well. Food for thought with regards to reaction videos. Yeah, maybe I'll put something up. The other part was, yeah, I didn't. So there have been some people that have joined up some of the newer membership options already. Thank you for that. And they reached out and said, hey, I've just seen the new memberships, didn't hear anything about it. You haven't provided an update. That's because they only just got approved late yesterday afternoon. So those that have jumped in there, you guys are quick because it didn't, what hasn't long been approved by YouTube for those membership levels. So appreciate that. What else is there? Yeah, and so I was waiting for that to be approved before just giving an update, which I've done now anyway. So where are we? Sorry, there's some comments and stuff in here. I'm just scrolling up to them now. Benny, good afternoon, brother. Hey, good afternoon, bro. Junie, man, mate, you're not well. Let the NZ Army go, bud. You need to move. You need to moron move. Junie, man, I love the way you keep coming back to my lives, bro. You were here, I think, the last time. Keep coming, bro. Hang around. Clearly you are. Don't try and make out you're not, bro, because we can see you on here commenting. Jono M, Junie, man, what are you on about? He needs to get out more. Oh, Junie, man is still in there. What is it, 1:37? Oh, actually, it's nearly 2 o'clock now, so that was back at 1:37. If you're still on, Junie, man, good on you, bro, hanging around. Clearly, you enjoy the stuff, bro. Come on, you can admit it. You can admit it. It's all right. Won't hold it against you. You need to get out more, mate. Junie, man is on when I'm on, so maybe he's synced up his time, or he's got that notification bell. You know that little notification bell, Junie Man 1? Maybe if you don't want these things, maybe just unsubscribe or turn the notification bell off. But that's all right, bro. You're welcome to join. Benny, the lad is not worth engaged, bro. The lad is very obvious. He doesn't know what is on it. I think he's quite funny, eh? This is Māori mental health at its finest. Stay in the pocket. Very good advice, brother. Yeah, good advice in terms of old Junie, man. Maybe he's dropped off now as I scroll down. I'm active, 1st Battalion, RNZIR. Hey, awesome. Awesome to hear. Wow. Cool. Thanks for stopping by and joining in on the live, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for your service, brother. Yeah, likewise. Yeah, likewise. And to anybody that served. Yeah, appreciate you. My soap, stay in the pocket. Any lads wear glasses in the infantry? Yeah, he's a good person to ask. My application was only denied due to my eyesight. That's interesting, eh? You must have not met the minimum requirements for your eyesight. Yeah, unfortunately. Sup, Joe Ninja Cuts. So just my 2 cents on that eyesight piece. Our oldest daughter, out as a surprise a few years ago now, while we're living up in Pukekohe, so maybe 3-4 years ago, she made the decision that she wanted to join the army. I was stoked for her. It's like awesome, but she failed due to her eyesight as well, and so she doesn't wear glasses still to this day. She doesn't feel like she needs to wear glasses, but clearly her eyesight wasn't able to meet the minimum requirements. She was pretty devastated, gutted, but everything happens for a reason, and you know, it is what it is. She's not in the army. She's happy doing what she's doing now, but yeah, it was pretty gutting for her. So when my Soap 23 is sharing that, yeah, I have although I can't personally relate to it, I have an understanding through observation of our daughter and how much it impacted her, to be told no, that she couldn't join because of that. So I'm not sure. I don't have any other advice for it. Yeah, if they've made the decision no, then yeah, sometimes we just have to accept those decisions and try to find whatever else we need to do or are meant to do. But appreciate your time and support on here as well. At Barracudas Australia, AUS. I've been listening to Mark Wales a lot lately on various podcasts. I noticed most SF are very humble. Are you trained to be like this, or is it a peer review thing? Keep inspiring. Well, that's a really kind comment, bro. Thanks for that. Mark Wales is a great man, really good guy, very intelligent, and from all accounts, from the people that I know him, they speak very highly of him. I met Walesy a handful of times. Interactions were always positive, although we never served in the same squadron and we never served in the regiment at the same time. But really good guy. What was your question? Are you trained to be like this? No, so very humble. I don't think. I think it's just part of the upbringing. There's nothing. My experience. There's nothing in the unit that teaches humility specifically, although it is one of the core values or tenets of the unit, humor and humility. It's, I think anyway, it's by and large your upbringing, how you were raised, what you were taught, the values that you have, and how you try to go about, honoring those things, whether it's your parents that taught you or your grandparents, depending on who you were raised by. The understanding of who you represent and all that sort of stuff, what you represent, what you stand for, combination of all of that sort of stuff. But really kind and nice of you to mention that, particularly in regards to Walesy and the keep on inspiring piece there. Appreciate that comment. I think the other part of that, actually, the part where I suppose in the SF units where you are taught humility potentially without realizing it, is when you are on courses, whether it's on selection or cycle, or whether you're on the range, or whether you're out in the field, or whether you're doing room clearance, room combat, and you realize very quickly how much better the other guys are than you. And you, in that moment, look at them and go, holy heck, I've got a lot of work to do. That can be extremely humbling. Being on selection and seeing how far behind the pack you are in a PT session or on a particular task in your small group of people, and going, man, like those guys are killing it over there. They look super strong. They're doing really well. I'm really struggling back here. That can also be a really good humility lesson and instruction. So yeah, probably to a degree, depending on how you look at it and how people approach it, the unit, yeah, likely is teaching humility indirectly through the things that you are exposed to, through the tasks that are asked of you and required and expected of you, and just through the makeup of the other people that are in there. There are some, I've said it before, there are some absolute weapons within that unit, highly skilled and capable and competent across many, many things. Although if you ask them, they would deny that and say, no, like jack of all trades, master of none, that sort of mentality, and just striving to do their best. So yeah, what a cool question. Bloody made me think more deeply than the answer that I gave, although I do think the first part of the answer probably shapes an individual more so in the lead up to selection, and then whatever that shaping or molding has looked like before you get to selection, I think it's probably consolidated, maybe at times enhanced, or dare I say improved, to a lot of to another level again, in that environment, being exposed to that environment. I suppose you can't help but be more reserved, be more humble, if that's the right word, when you are surrounded by people that are more experienced, more knowledgeable, more competent, bigger, faster, stronger, you know, more intelligent, etc. Like it's pretty easy to, oh, yep, I'll just close my mouth here and I'll just listen to what he said and I will look to try to do just what he's told me to do. What do we got here? Where are we? I could have done another role such as a trade, but I'm already a qualified mechanic, was looking at a mid to late 20s career change, so wasn't interested in doing a trade. Oh, well, gotcha. Cool that you got a trade, man. I didn't stop the training though. I kept that going. That's awesome. I think, you know, that's a really good insight into your mentality from without having met you or without knowing you personally. It seems like a really strong, cool insight into, you know, your mentality. Trade, like getting a trade as it is, the years that it takes to work, to study, to commit, to be disciplined, to getting to that, it speaks for itself. And then your mid to late 20s career change flip, unfortunately, that didn't work out, or maybe it hasn't worked out so far because you could do a, what did you say? You could do another role. Here's my take on that for what it's worth. And I share this because I speak with a few people that have been weighing up their options in terms of military. Some have been adamant about wanting to go the infantry route because of, you know, some of what I've shared in terms of my opinion, best preparation if you're wanting to go for a unit like the SAS. That's always been my bias. But also with regards to that, it's probably based on other stuff, just their own personal drive and interest as well. But if you have the option to still go into the military and choose a different role, my take, and I've shared this with other people, if there's a bit of a backlog at the moment for the particular area that you want to get into, so there has been some backlog in regards to infantry, surprisingly enough, even in Australia, whereby people have had to wait long periods of time to get in. I'm not too sure what it's like here in NZ, but if it is, this might be an option for you or for other people. You can, like if you're given the option to go in another role, join and do that other role. You might not like it, might not be what you want to do, but once you're in the system, it's much easier to move within the system, if that makes sense. And then therefore what I mean by that is put in an application to then trade change and go to another role. Is it always going to be, is it smooth sailing and is it a guarantee? No, it's not. But my experience and people that I know that have done it, it's easier to be in the system to then try to work within it, build connections, contacts, and go through those channels and processes whilst you're already in the system and move to somewhere else within it, rather than being outside of it and just trying to break into that place which potentially may not be having you at this time. Hopefully that makes sense. Please don't take it as it's not a guarantee, but there are a number of people that have done that and it's worked out well for them. At the same time, there's probably a bunch of people who I don't know that have done that and it hasn't worked out for them. And then they've ultimately just decided to go, oh, well, can't get to where I want to get to. I've tried every avenue. I've been patient. I've done this, I've done that, crossed the T's, dotted the I's, but it's not working. So then some of them have probably made the decision to leave. So maybe that might be an option. Maybe you've already considered it, but if you're already doing all the training, clearly if the desire is still already there, is still there, then, you know, there might be some other ways to skin that cat and get to where you might want to get to. What's this? I guess that applies to the trade as well. When you're new, it is easy to think you know it all, even after a few years, but you realize even after a while, there are people that are much more experienced. Yeah, no doubt. Brother, you watched that film Pilgrim? Yes, I did. I did a reaction to it too. I'm pretty sure it's one of the videos that got taken down. So I did a live reaction to that, bro. There were some people that were on it watching as I was doing the live reaction. Some people that had already watched it a few times. Cool video. And unfortunately, the live reaction that I did has been blocked due to copyright. But as I've mentioned, I haven't got a copyright strike. I enjoyed it. There was some lemon that jumped on there in that live, put a comment on there, NZ Army are pussies or something they put in there. and then they went on to say some other rubbish from the comfort of their keyboard and at home. But yeah, that was a cool documentary, cool short film to hear. I don't know who that guy is, but really cool. He raised some cool points. It's interesting to hear his take and perspective. One of the things that stuck out to me, like just right now as I sit here, there were a few things, but this one sticks out to me right now, was his comment around people think, or what people get wrong about selection, were to this effect: that selection isn't physical, that it's spiritual. And I really like that point that he made, although my take is a bit different. I do think it's much more holistic. I think there's a heck of a lot of physical to it. I think there's a heck of a lot of mental to it, emotional and spiritual. I think all of those things combine. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's all of those things at different times, and at different times it may lean more heavily towards one of those things than the others, but the others are always still constantly there. But it's really, yeah, I love the scenery. I love the way it was filmed. I really like the ending where this little fella come running out there at the end too, and the way the face is hidden the whole time. The not discussion, but him sharing his thoughts and his perspective. The nature of the work was really cool too. I think he spoke about, if you get into a contact, that would be considered a failed mission or an unsuccessful mission for the unit, which was a great point. I think people think, oh, SF, so they can go get into gunfights. Unfortunately, that is a natural part of what happens, particularly what the guys have been through in Afghanistan the last 20 plus years of global war on terror. But that's usually, unless you're going to set an ambush, that's usually not the objective, not the mission. It's usually get the information or get the person or persons of interest, and get the intelligence and stuff later on. So yeah, that program video was cool. There's lots of stuff in there. I think the short video, I must have rambled on for probably nearly 2 hours or more. So yeah, but it was cool. Thank you for the mana wave received, bro, and back at you. And I think that's about it. Look at that, just under an hour so far. Let me just scroll up, make sure I didn't miss any of the questions or comments. Oh, Jono left. Oh, sorry, Jono. Journeyman 1.0 left. It's a shame, after he stuck around for what appears to be a few minutes. Yeah, and then he buggered off. Poor fella. Never mind. He's clearly got his notifications on, and he's probably still sitting there watching, to be fair. He's just probably gone quiet. Anyway, that being said, that's the update with regards to the channel and what's happening and what's on the cards. And that's the response to some of the questions that came through. So anyway, have a beautiful weekend, eh? Remember Mother's Day this Sunday, so don't forget your mums and your partners if you've got children as well, and they're obviously the mum of your fella's children. Hopefully you have an awesome weekend, and yeah, call your mums. I've got some people whose mum and dad was a single parent, and in some cases was the dad. Well then, like for me, my mum gets the happy Mother's Day and the happy Father's Day in both. She's the 2-for-1. So if you've got a dad who is the 2-for-1, then acknowledge that as well as best you can. But take care, everybody. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you fellas on the next video. Yeah, you have a good afternoon too, brother. Thanks for that, and I'll see you on the next video. Right.